Welcome to the Funeral Funds Life Insurance Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Vandervate from Funeral Funds of America, and you can find us at funeralfunds.com. That's funeral, FUNDS.com. Whether you're interested in term life, whole life, mortgage protection, annuities, disability, business continuation, or final expense life insurance, we have you covered. Our team of experienced professionals will guide you through the complexities of insurance products to help you make an informed decision. In this podcast, I'm going to be discussing, do you need burial insurance if you already have life insurance? So, my first point about if you need burial insurance if you already have life insurance, you may need burial insurance if you already have life insurance if you don't have enough coverage right now. So, a lot of people don't have private life insurance, which means they may only have the insurance that's available through their employer. And in that case, if you make $100,000 a year, you're going to typically get a $100,000 policy from your employer, but it's only going to be good and in effect while you work. When you leave, you don't get to take that with you. If you earn $50,000, you may have a $50,000 policy. Kind of one times your current annual salary is typically what most insurance companies offer. And if you're an hourly employee, a lot of times those benefits aren't available to hourly employees. So if you're an hourly employee, or you just that's the only insurance you have is your salary type benefit program, you may want to consider burial insurance. And the reason is if you pass away and you've only got 1 year's worth of income, that is not a lot of money to leave behind for a spouse. Seriously, you're going to take care of them for 1 year and then they're on their own. Maybe you've been married 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, 20 years, and God forbid, you die unexpectedly. You're just going to give them 1 year's worth of your income, and they're supposedly supposed to make it the rest of their life with that. So, everybody's situation's different, but I think most would agree that's kind of a rotten situation to leave somebody that you care about and love more than anybody else in the world in. So if that's all you're going to go with, then yes, it would make sense to get burial insurance, because do you want, the burial expenses and all that to pull out of that, income replacement that your loved ones are going to need just to survive and put food on the table and keep a roof over their head? So it would certainly make a lot of sense in that situation. Now, if you've got $500,000 worth of life insurance or $1 million, well, maybe you don't need to do it at that point. But in this day and age, $500,000 or $1 million, depending on your income, that's not a lot. If you make $100,000 a year and have $1 million policy, that will replace your income for 10 years. What if your kids are like 3 and 6? That'll get them up to 13 and 16. Just decide, is that the kind of parent you wanna be? Do you wanna leave them, because 'cause you're just kind of delaying the inevitable. So, in many cases, most people are probably underinsured, especially if you've got young children. So, second point about whether you may need burial insurance if you already have life insurance is, we kind of alluded to that a little bit here, or I did anyway. You know, what if you don't wanna use the life insurance benefit for final expenses? Well, again, if you've just got an small employer life insurance policy as a benefit from working there, then you don't want to burn that money up to pay for burial and stuff like that. Your family and loved ones are going to need that for income. The other thing too is maybe you've only got a $250,000 policy, and but if you've got a $150,000 mortgage and a auto loan and a couple kids and stuff like that, that's still not a lot of money. So in many cases, burial insurance would really be appropriate in that case as well. And the reason it's going to be more appropriate than other types of insurance is because typically the other types of insurance you're going to get are going to be term life insurance, either employer provided or term life insurance. And both of those end. Statistically, you're not going to work for the same employer for the rest of your life. And if you get a term life insurance policies, they are only good for specific periods of time, like 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years, something like that. So they do end. Burial insurance policies are permanent whole life insurance policies. They last forever. as long as the premium payments are made. Our third point about needing burial insurance if you already have life insurance, it might be appropriate if you have specific final wishes. So, there's some cultures and some systems of belief that, hey, say that, we have to do specific things, and sometimes those things can get very expensive. We've heard of $20,000 and $30,000 funerals, and most people would go, "Whoa, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? The person's passed away." But that's just what they believe, and that's just what people's either religion or heritage. And I don't think we cast any judgment on that. It really just is what it is. It's just a matter of fact. And if it's just a matter of fact, get insurance to cover that, and then you don't have to worry about it. And burial insurance is a great way to do that because, again, it's a permanent policy. None of us knows if we're going to live another 20 seconds or another 20 years or even longer. So we want to make sure that we have a policy that's always going to be there, that's always going to pay out. And these whole life insurance plans for burial insurance last until age 121 years old. Now, our fourth point here is, needing burial insurance if you already have life insurance. Well, some people don't have life insurance. So, maybe they've got some assets. We see this an awful lot with our senior clients. They go, well, I got some money in the bank. I'll just use that for it. And they just aren't thinking far enough down the road, despite their years and decades of wisdom. They're tending to think in the moment rather than longer term, because just because you have money in the bank today doesn't mean you'll have money in the bank tomorrow. And I've seen this over and over and over and over, because what happens is you get older. Typically, you have more medical problems. What happens when you have more medical problems? You got more doctor bills, you got more hospital visits, you got more prescription medications. So even though you have money in the savings right now, most people are just like one hospital visit or one significant health issue away from depleting that nest egg that they've saved their whole life for. And that's where burial insurance really comes into play and is so appropriate, because once you qualify for the burial insurance, you're locked in for life. You never have to worry about this again. You're just, there's that same kind of pennies, you're putting in pennies and you're getting back dollars type thing. So, the math depends on your age. You put in fewer pennies when you're younger for each amount of coverage versus when you're older. But bottom line is, you just put in a small amount of money, you give that to the insurance company, and you transfer that risk, that huge financial 10, 15, $20,000 risk, to an insurance company. And if that's all you want to pay for is funeral expenses, then yeah, it's a great way to go. The fifth point, as far as burial insurance, if you already have life insurance, is, it might be appropriate if you just want to avoid using your savings in addition to the life insurance, because, again, term life insurance is temporary. Your employer life insurance is temporary. Even if you do work there your whole life, you're not going to have that when you retire in 99% of the cases. And so again, you've got that savings. You really want to rely on that savings, because as you get older, things happen. Both my parents, they got extremely sick at the end, and they had to be in, really a high level of care, and that's expensive. That's expensive. And, each month the savings depleted. So yeah, burial insurance is just, it's such a blessing at that point, because you don't have to worry about, if all the savings goes away, the burial insurance will always be there. And the sixth and final point is, as far as needing burial insurance if you already have life insurance, is when you just want the permanent peace of mind. Again, we've talked about this a number of times, but term life insurance and work employer life insurance, and even universal life insurance, if it's not structured correctly, are all temporary policies. And, most people, at the end of the day, when they put their head down on their pillow and go to sleep each night, they just want to know that, this has been taken care of. They don't want to have to worry about this as they're counting sheep, trying to fall asleep, right? So if you want that permanent peace of mind, the only way to have permanent peace of mind is to get a permanent burial or life insurance policy to cover these expenses. And, you know, everything else is temporary. Everything else is just guessing. We're just guessing. Are we going to, you know, are we going to die this year or 30 years from now? None of us knows the day or the time or the minute that we're going to pass away. And the reason people get these burial insurance policies, these smaller whole life insurance policies, is they just know that life is out of their control in almost every case. And they just want a policy that if they were to die tomorrow or decades from now, it's going to pay out. And that's the peace of mind that burial insurance provides, even over other life insurance products. There you go. Do you need burial insurance if you already have life insurance? My name is Randy Vandervate, and I hope this podcast has been helpful to you. Funeral Funds of America can help you qualify for first day coverage or benefits at funeralfunds.com. That's funeral, FUNDS.com. And our phone number is 888-862-9456. We will be blessed to help you with this in the future. Until that day comes, stay safe, take care, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.